What's up, everybody? Joe White here, rolling through Iowa today. I'm going to be going from Iowa all the way down to Oklahoma. So, um, I want to talk a little bit about the big fight from last night. Everybody, I got to be honest with you. I fell asleep. I didn't get to stay awake long enough to watch the main event. They have been running me ragged with this job the last few days. One minute I'm running at night, next minute I'm running during the day. It's been a mess. But I want to talk a little bit about Netflix and their troubles. This kind of worries me. Well, it does and it doesn't. This fight is probably going to be the biggest draw of the year because I mean, if you already have a Netflix subscription, you got to fight for free. Now, there's a couple of ways that people are looking at this. One is that Netflix wasn't prepared for all the traffic, and they weren't. I got to watch the first two fights before I fell asleep, and the first two fights that were fun for me, and I'm watching on a cell phone, so I really didn't mind it all that much. Um, I did think I did go back and watch the main event, and I was saddened by the result. I think it's time for Mike Tyson to go. He's sitting there biting his damn glove all the way through the fight because he says he has a biting fixation, which is just whatever. Anyway, the whole thing was a whatever. I never really paid much attention to the build up to it. Boxing to me has just always been kind of. I'll be honest, that first fight, hell, the first two fights were boring as hell. Um, Boxing is always, and MMA, even MMA to a certain extent to me, is just boring. You get very little action. How many times can you circle each other before you finally throw a fucking punch? I mean, come on. Anyway, um, but the big story here is Netflix and the way they handled it or the way they couldn't handle it. And people are going, if you can't do this, how are you going to handle your traffic around the world tuning in all at the same time to watch Monday Night Raw? Well, first off, I don't think a lot of people are going to be watching Raw live in other time zones. Yes, you have the occasional UK moron who sits up till 2 o'clock in the morning watching the damn thing, but I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of that. US viewers, it's clear that yes, you have a big US subscriber base, but not all of them are going to be watching Raw. I will say this. Raw on average right now is drawing about 1.5 million viewers a week. Okay? It may go up a little bit more than that for the first couple of weeks, but then it's going to level off. And I think you're going to find that if Netflix releases the numbers, you're going to find that about the same amount of people are watching Raw then are going to be watching Raw then as are watching Raw now. I don't think it's going to be this huge explosion of people like watching like everybody's talking about. Or if they do watch it, it won't be live. It'll be in Netflix's top 10 every week just because it's going to have the traffic from around the world. But I just don't think it's going to be that big. Now, what does worry me is when they, unless they sign a new deal with Peacock, which please don't, get your crap off that sorry excuse for a streaming service, please. But if they don't sign a new deal with Peacock, it's pretty obvious that they're going to go the way, follow the Joneses, go the way everywhere else around the world's going, and that it is possible that, except for SmackDown, we could be seeing, as of 2 years from now, everything migrating over to Netflix as far as the old stuff and the PLEs. Um, and then you have to wonder, can they handle the traffic with that? Because a lot of people do watch those PLEs live. However, there is talk of them also doing a UFC style model, even with Netflix, where yes, you have to be a Netflix subscriber, but you also have to pay a certain amount of money for this pay per view. And I hope to God they don't do that. It's going to fail miserably. WWE audiences now, for the last at least 10 years, have gotten used to, you know, we've gotten used to, hey, if I subscribe to the WWE network, I get the pay per views for free. There's been talk for years of them trying to do this with WrestleMania, and it hasn't come to fruition. Why? Because they know it's not going to draw. They know people won't pay extra for it. That's just the way it is. I doubt that I would pay anything extra for it. So I think that Netflix has a lot of infrastructure work to do. They have to make sure they can handle the traffic if they're ever going to do anything like this again. One guy on YouTube was going, well, he's sitting there looking at the little spinning circle of death from Netflix, and he's like, "This has been going on for 10 minutes. I'm trying to watch the game on TikTok." And first off, it's a fight. It's not a game. You don't play. You don't play boxing. You fight. It is. I mean, well, part of boxing's always been rigged, but the thing is, it's called a fight, not a game. But you don't sit there and go, "I'm going to play that. I'm going to knock you out." No. But people were sitting there. I saw many videos of people just complaining about the spinning red circle of death that Netflix was giving them last night. And I think that as the night progressed, I had a friend of mine go, "I got to sit through 4 of these damn things before Logan and Tyson." And I'm like, or Logan and Tyson, Jake Paul and Tyson. And I'm just like, yes, you do. It's called an undercard. You got to have an undercard. UFC has an undercard. I think, John Jones is fighting this weekend. And we got to see, we're going to have an undercard. We even have preliminaries for this thing. So people are already like, oh, God, I got to sit through this dreck before I get to Tyson and Paul. Anyway. Another thing I want to talk about is Becky Lynch. Speculation running rampant that Becky Lynch will be on the first Raw on Netflix. I full well expected her to return by the Royal Rumble anyway. So, if not, if she doesn't go on the first Raw on Netflix, she'll definitely be back by the Rumble. And she'll be on Raw. I just hope, maybe she does win the Rumble. And then she fights Nia Jax at Mania, wins, and then Tiffany Stratton cashes in on Becky Lynch, which would kind of negate this whole thing that they're doing where she's going to turn on Nia Jax. But it still would make Tiffany Stratton a bigger star to pin Becky Lynch as opposed to pinning Nia Jax, regardless of the way she does it. And I think Becky's at her point in her career where she can afford to put over a few people. You have to do that. You have to put over people if you want to make new stars. You gotta give them. You gotta give up the limelight a little bit. Um, let's see what else. Bronson Reed joining the Bloodline, putting the ones in the air. I'm surprised that they're going this direction with it. They're leaving Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes out of it, and instead sticking a secondary storyline that has nothing to do with the Bloodline or their past in Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed, even though Seth Rollins, former Shield member, teaming up with Roman, it fits. It does fit. You got Big Bronson Reed, which I hate calling him Big Bronson Reed. We know he's big already. Why can't we just call him Bronson Reed? Why do we got to say big every single time? Anyway, I think also the the whole storyline's just been good. The whole damn thing's just been really phenomenal. The fact that they finally acknowledge that this is a civil war, Samoan Civil War games, I've dubbed it. It's going to be a good match. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I got family coming over. I'm cooking my Thanksgiving dinner that day, so we're all going to gather around the damn big screen. We're going to sit there and eat a bunch of turkey and watch the Samoan Civil War games. Now, that's an idea of a family fun afternoon right there. John Moxley. Let's talk about John Moxley. Talking about AEW. Oh, this is a new day, man. This is a new day for AEW, dude. How many times are we going to push the reset button in AEW? How many times are we going to sit there and go, this is a new day, it's a new era, blah, 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 blah. I guarantee when that new production deal comes in 2025, they're already talking about how they're going to change their production. They're going to change the way they shoot things. They're going to change the sets and all that stuff. And I'm just like, how many times, you know, guys, have you ever heard the phrase polish a turd and it's still a turd? How many times can you hit that reset button before you finally realize it's not working? It's never going to work. You can put a six-sided ring in that son of a bitch. Nobody would care right now. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to care. Nobody's watching you at all. Get over yourselves. It doesn't matter who you turn heel. It doesn't matter who you bring in. They've lost the plot. Unless they get someone like a John Cena, it's not going to work. And even if they got John Cena, I'm not sure AEW could pull themselves out of the hole that they're in. That Tony the Snowman Khan has dug for themselves. I said this from the very beginning. He went the way of the indie fan, and it's failed. That type of crap does not work on a world stage. It's for a very niche, however you want to say it, audience. And the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega have fully just proven that entirely. Tony Khan's booking has proven that entirely. Anyway, folks, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't be afraid to give us a super thanks if you enjoyed the video. I'm not begging for your money. I don't need the money, but the option's there. Knock yourselves out. If you want to give, give. If not, thank you for watching anyway. And we'll see you down the road.